In this problem, we need to simplify the expression, and we may assume that all variables represent positive real numbers. So in this problem, the whole idea is to see what part of the fraction inside the square root is a complete square, because the square root and the complete square simply cancel each other out. So let's look at the top. 32 is not a square of an integer, but we can represent this as 2 times 16, and 16 is a perfect square because it is a square of 4. We also have a square of 6, which is a perfect square, and we have a y, which is not a perfect square. At the bottom, we have 25, which is, as a matter of fact, a perfect square because it is a square of 5. So let's split this fraction into two fractions. One fraction is going to involve these squares, so it's 16, which is the square of 4, then the square of x, and then at the bottom 25, which is the square of 5, and then the second fraction is the fraction which does not involve any perfect square. So this is 2y we have left from the top and 1 from the bottom. And next we are going to use the property of the square roots, that the square root of a product of two positive numbers is the product of the square roots of these numbers. So we can therefore split this one square root into two separate roots. This is the first root, and this is the second root. In the first root, I'm going to use the properties of exponents and simply factor out the square as a square of the whole fraction. In the second case, well, 2y over 1 is just 2y, so I'm going to write this as the square root of 2y. And now comes the key moment, because in the first root I have a square and then I have the square root. But if you square and then take the square root, these two operations effectively cancel each other out as long as what you have inside is a positive number, which is true by the condition of the problem. And therefore the first root simplifies to just 4x over 5, and then we have the square root of 2y left. So let's just write this as a single fraction. 4x times the square root of 2y divided by 5. And this is the result of our simplification. This is our final answer.